Okay, so get this. Imagine a world where humans have evolved beyond our current limitations. With the boundaries between technology and biology, they've kind of blurred. It sounds like a sci-fi flick, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of mind-bending territory we're diving into today. As we explore the concept of post-human, you've probably heard the term thrown around. It's buzzing everywhere these days, from academic papers to tech conferences. But what does it actually mean? And more importantly, is this just a futuristic fantasy? Or are we already on the path to becoming something beyond human?
Well, what's fascinating is that the post-human isn't some distant sci-fi trope anymore. It's a question we're facing right now, as technology advances at an unprecedented rate. And it's key to understand that post-human, well, it isn't interchangeable with transhuman. They're related, sure. They're
Yeah,
not the same thing.
you're right. I've definitely stumbled over those terms before, mixing them up like socks in the dryer.
Happens to the best of us. Think of transhumanism as using technology to enhance human capabilities, like souping up a car for peak performance. Posthumanism, however, grapples with a future where those upgrades are so significant that we've moved beyond what we even define as human.
Okay, so transhumanism is like tuning up the engine, and posthumanism is building a spaceship.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about longer lifespans or sharper minds. This is about questioning the very essence of what it means to be human in a world where we can merge with AI, manipulate our own genetics, and exist in virtual realms that rival reality itself.
We're talking about a future where the lines between human and machine, reality and simulation could become increasingly blurry. Kind of makes you wonder, are we already on that path with our smartphones practically glued to our hands, constantly augmenting our lives with technology?
That's a really insightful connection. Our relationship with technology is already deeply intertwined with our lives, but as we delve deeper into the post-human, the questions become even more profound. We're talking about the potential for not only individual transformation, but a complete societal evolution.
We've got a few different sources to help us navigate this complex landscape, right?
We do. We'll be looking at an excerpt from a Japanese academic paper, The Significance of Questioning Human Existence from Posthuman for the Purpose of Building a Synthetic Anthropology essay, Part 3, which delves into how the posthuman challenges our very understanding of existence. And we'll balance that with the broader perspective offered by the Wikipedia article on posthuman, which defines it as a person or entity that exists in a state beyond being human.
Okay, so we've got the deep philosophical dive of the academic paper
Yeah.
and the broader overview from Wikipedia.
Precisely. And what's interesting is that even though they come from different perspectives, both sources grapple with the same core issue, the profound implications of a future, where humanity as we know it may cease to exist.
Whoa, that's a pretty heavy concept to unpack. I will admit, seeing the title of that academic paper, I thought we might be in for some dry, jargon-filled reading. But this paper really draws you in. The authors don't shy away from the big existential questions that this topic raises.
What struck me was the term synthetic anthropology. It sounds complex, but it gets to the heart of what we're talking about. Essentially, it's the study of humanity in the context of these profound technological advancements. It's about understanding how our definition of human might need to evolve as we incorporate more and more technology into our lives, and even our bodies.
It's like we're rewriting the story of what it means to be human, but this time technology is a main character.
Precisely. And the Japanese paper really emphasizes the need for careful consideration as we navigate this new terrain. It highlights the potential for both incredible progress and unforeseen consequences.
It's that double-edged sword of technology, isn't it? We have the potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges,
Yeah.
but we also risk creating new ones. And I'm guessing that's where the concept of the post-human gets really interesting
Yeah.
and maybe a little scary.
Exactly. Because it's not just about technological advancement. It's about the ethical and societal implications of those advancements. How do we ensure that these technologies are used for good? And what happens to our values, our relationships, our very sense of self as we move further down this path?
Okay. So we've established that the post-human is a lot more than just cool gadgets and longer lifespans. It's about asking ourselves some fundamental questions about what it means to be human in a world that's changing faster than ever before. But how do we even begin to wrap our heads around the different ways this future might unfold?
That's where the different paths to a post-human future come in. The sources highlight a few key avenues that could lead us there, each with its own set of possibilities and, let's be honest, its own potential pitfalls.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into those paths. Where do we begin?
Well, why don't we start by exploring the idea of biological enhancement? where technology allows us to rewrite the very code of our being. We're not talking science fiction here,
Yeah.
but the very real advances in gene editing and biotechnology that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Biological enhancement. It sounds like something out of a superhero movie. Are we talking about a future where we can design our babies to be stronger, smarter, maybe even live longer?
It's a future that's closer than we might think. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR are already making waves in the medical field, offering the potential to cure genetic diseases. But what happens when we take that a step further? Using those same tools to enhance human capabilities beyond their natural limits.
It's like the ultimate power-up, but for real life. Imagine athletes pushing human performance to unimaginable levels, or scientists with enhanced cognitive abilities making groundbreaking discoveries. It's exciting to think about the possibilities, but I can't help but wonder about the potential downsides.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial point. The ethical implications of biological enhancement are profound. Will everyone have access to these enhancements, or will it create a new divide between the enhanced and the unenhanced? Could it lead to a society where certain traits are favored over others, eroding the very diversity that makes us human?
It's like that age-old fear of a world divided into haves and have-nots. But instead of wealth, it's about who has the best genes. And what about the idea of parents essentially choosing their children's traits before they're even born? It feels like we're wading into some ethically murky waters.
It's a debate that's already raging in the scientific community. Some argue that we have a moral obligation to explore these technologies for the betterment of humanity, while others urge caution, warning of the potential for unintended consequences.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. Okay, so biological enhancement is one path to a post-human future. What's the next road on our roadmap?
Let's talk about cybernetic integration, the merging of humans and machines. We're not just talking about wearable tech here, but a future where technology is seamlessly integrated with our bodies and minds.
Okay, now this is where it gets really futuristic. I'm picturing implants that enhance our senses, prosthetic limbs that outperform anything nature could create,
Yeah.
maybe even brain-computer interfaces that allow us to connect to the digital world with just our thoughts.
You're getting the picture. We're already seeing early examples of this, from prosthetic limbs controlled by neural impulses to brain implants that help restore lost vision. But imagine a future where these technologies are commonplace, fundamentally altering our relationship with our bodies and the world around us.
It's like the line between human and machine starts to dissolve. We become part cyborg, part software, existing simultaneously in the physical and digital realms. It's a concept that both fascinates and kind of freaks me out at the same time.
It certainly challenges our traditional notions of what it means to be human. If we can enhance our bodies and minds with technology, at what point do those enhancements fundamentally change who we are?
Right. And on a societal level, how does this impact our relationships, our sense of community, even our understanding of work and leisure? It's a whole new world of possibilities, but also a whole new set of challenges.
And that brings us to the third path, perhaps the most complex and potentially world-altering of them all. The rise of artificial intelligence. We're not just talking about smarter algorithms here, but the potential for AI to surpass human intelligence altogether.
This is one that always gets people talking, right? The idea of AI becoming self-aware, exceeding our capabilities, and potentially even posing a threat to humanity. It's a popular theme in science fiction. But I wonder, is it really something we should be worried about?
It's certainly a topic that's generating a lot of debate and discussion. Some experts warn of the potential risks of unchecked AI development, while others argue that AI could be the key to solving some of humanity's most pressing challenges.
It's like any powerful technology. It can be used for good or ill. It all comes down to how we choose to develop and implement it, and the ethical frameworks we put in place.
Exactly. The key is to ensure that AI is developed responsibly, with human values at its core. But it also begs the question, what happens if AI does become more intelligent than us? How will our relationship with these new, super intelligent beings evolve?
It's a question that's both fascinating and a little unsettling. Will AI be our partner in progress, or will it view us as outdated, even a threat to its own existence? It's like we're stepping into the unknown, and it's both exhilarating and a little terrifying.
That's the nature of exploring the posthuman. It pushes us to confront the unknown, to question our assumptions about the world and our place in it. But it's not just about the future. These advancements also force us to look inward, to examine what it truly means to be human in a world where the very definition of human is in flux.
So we've got these three potential paths to a post-human future: biological enhancement, cybernetic integration, and the rise of AI. Each path is fascinating in its own right, But what I find even more compelling is how these paths might intersect and overlap.
Absolutely. It's not necessarily a case of one path or the other. Imagine a future where gene editing is used to enhance our ability to interface with machines, or where AI is used to design the next generation of cybernetic enhancements. The possibilities become even more mind-boggling when you consider the potential for convergence.
It's like these paths are weaving together a tapestry of the future, with each thread representing a different possibility. But it's not just about individual transformations, is it? These advancements have the potential to reshape society as a whole.
You're right. Up until now, we've mainly focused on how these technologies might impact us on an individual level. But to truly understand the implications of a post-human future, we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the potential impact on our social structures, our values, even our understanding of what it means to exist.
Okay, so we've explored these individual paths to a post-human future. But now I'm really curious about the wider view. How might these advancements reshape society as we know it? It feels like we're talking about changes that could ripple through every aspect of human existence.
You're spot on. We can't just focus on individual transformations when the post-human has the potential to completely redefine our social structures, our values, even our understanding of what it means to exist. Remember that term superorganism from the Japanese paper? That's where things start to get really interesting and maybe a little unsettling.
Right. It's that idea of humans and technology becoming so interconnected that we evolve into a new kind of collective entity, almost like a hive mind, where individual identities become less important than the collective whole.
It challenges our deeply ingrained sense of individuality, doesn't it? What happens to concepts like personal freedom, privacy, or even love and ambition in a world where our minds are constantly interacting and evolving within a vast technological network? These aren't just abstract philosophical questions, they have real implications for how we design our societies and govern ourselves.
It's like trying to imagine a world without borders, both literally and figuratively. If our minds can connect and interact in virtual spaces, do geographical boundaries even matter anymore? And what about the digital divide? Will everyone have equal access to this interconnected future, or will it exacerbate existing inequalities?
Those are critical questions, and the sources don't shy away from these complex issues. The Japanese paper in particular emphasizes the need to consider the potential downsides of this technological interconnectedness. It raises concerns about the erosion of privacy, the potential for new forms of social control, and the risk of exacerbating existing social divisions.
It's a reminder that with great technological power comes great responsibility. We can't just focus on the potential benefits without addressing the potential risks. But let's dive back into that superorganism concept for a moment. What would it actually look like for humanity to function as a collective entity? It's kind of hard to wrap my head around.
It's definitely a concept that stretches the limits of our imagination. Some envision a future where we're directly connected through brain-computer interfaces, sharing thoughts and experiences in a kind of global consciousness. Others imagine a more decentralized network where AI acts as a mediator, facilitating communication and collaboration on an unprecedented scale.
Okay, now we're venturing into some truly mind-blowing territory. And the Wikipedia article takes this concept even further, introducing the idea of a post-human god. It sounds like something out of mythology, but in the context of a post-human future, it's almost plausible.
Right. It's the idea that some post-humans, through advanced technology or cognitive enhancements, might develop abilities so far beyond our current understanding that they would appear godlike to us.
So we're not just talking about superintelligence, but about beings who can manipulate matter, defy the laws of physics, maybe even transcend death itself. It's a lot to process. And it makes you wonder if our current systems of morality, ethics, even religion, would hold any relevance in a world inhabited by such beings.
It's a question that philosophers and theologians are already grappling with. How do we define good and evil, right and wrong, in a world where some beings have powers that were once considered the exclusive domain of gods? Do we need a new ethical framework, one that accounts for this radical shift in power and capability?
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? It makes you realize how limited our current perspective might be. We're essentially trying to make sense of the future while looking through the lens of our current understanding of the world. But what if the future requires a completely new lens, a new way of seeing and understanding reality itself?
That's the challenge and the excitement of exploring the post-human. It forces us to confront the limits of our own knowledge and to embrace the unknown. It's a reminder that the future is not fixed, but a vast and uncharted territory shaped by the choices we make today.
So where does that leave us? What can we possibly take away from this deep dive into a future that seems both exhilarating and terrifying, full of potential and uncertainty?
I think the key takeaway is this. The post-human isn't just some abstract concept, some distant event on the horizon. It's a reflection of the choices we're making right now, the technologies we're developing, and the questions we're asking about the future of our species. It's a call to action, an invitation to engage in thoughtful dialogue about the kind of future we want to create.
So as we wrap up our exploration of the posthuman, the question I leave you with is this. What role do you want technology to play in shaping the future of humanity? It's a question worth pondering, debating, and ultimately answering together.